In my mind, there's one choice for roofing around here, and I'd go with your best choice. Whether it's time to replace your roof or repair it, Best Choice Roofing provides top-notch roofing services tailored to meet the unique needs of Detroit homes and businesses. They serve the region and inside the city of Detroit, too. You can find out more at bestchoiceroofing.com/Detroit. That's bestchoiceroofing.com/Detroit, or call 313-474-7031. That's 313-474-7031. Happy Friday before the Labor Day weekend. This is your Daily Detroit, sharing what to know and where to go and what to listen to for this episode. I tell you, it's going to be a fun one. I am Jer Stays, coming to you from our studio at Techtown, and coming to us from west of Woodward is none other than Devon O'Reilly. How are you, my friend?
Doing well, Jer. Fall feels like it's in the air, and we have a holiday weekend coming up and the first weekend of college football. So that is fun. For you Michigan State fans, you got a game Friday night, and for Michigan fans, we got a game Saturday night. So this will be good. We're back.
All right. You are a Michigan fan. I'm not going to ask you about the other team because I know you don't really care much about MSU, but you are a Michigan fan. You're a Michigan grad. Give me your honest assessment of the season this year. How are you feeling like they're going to do?
I'm feeling like a bounce back year. Yeah, last year we were not too great, 7-5. We're in a great team. We did, of course, beat Ohio University. That was fantastic. I think we're going to bounce back, and I think we'll go 9-3. I'm going to say 9-3 seems doable, and that'll put us, I think that'll put us in a top 15 spot, and we'll be challenging for maybe a big bowl game, maybe the playoff, depending on who we beat. I mean, of course, we're going to beat Ohio at the end of the year because, they can't beat us. They haven't beat us in like 1,200 days. So
not that you're counting.
I'm sure I can pull up the exact number, but yeah, so we'll beat them, whatever they're ranked. And I think 9-3. I really like our quarterback, Underwood. He's a freshman, but he's got all the skills, all the tools. 6'4", can move. So I'm really excited for this year.
Well, let's talk about where we've been. First, Devon O'Reilly, you were out to lunch.
I was out to lunch, and what is my favorite type of lunch? The power lunch. And so I was happy to power lunch in downtown Detroit this week. I went to a place that just actually started serving lunch. I believe it's only been maybe a few weeks, but Olin, which is right over there, just next to the Shinola, kind of between Shinola and Queens Bar. Really nice restaurant for dinner from the same people who did the Highlands. Olin's been open for a while now, a few years, but they always were kind of a dinner and weekend type of place. I had always hoped when I worked downtown that they would open up for lunch. And sure enough, I mentioned to the owner one time when he was putting out the sandwich board, I was like, you really should open for lunch. There's a lot more people down here, and I think you could get the business crowd. And that was a long time ago, so I'm not going to attribute it to that necessarily. But they're open now for lunch, and it's great. They're open for lunch every day. I went to lunch, it was like Monday. So they're open just about every day for lunch. Love consistency. And they've got, pretty much your standard lunch fare of salads, sandwiches, some shareable stuff on the front end of your meal, beer, wine, cocktails, all the stuff you could hope for in a good power lunch. So I was very happy, and I'll make it a point to go back because, again, I want to support our downtown lunch scene because it's, I know it's tough out there, but I think there's room for a downtown power lunch scene.
Okay, so when we go together, because that's what I'm hearing in my heart, what are we getting? Like, what did you have? People want to know.
I got there was the roasted, or I think roasted smoked, I think it was roasted tomato soup to start, which was really good. I got the Maryland crab cake sandwich because I'm a sucker for like a seafood type of sandwich, fried fish or crab cake, which was really nice. And to pair it with, I got a local, I can't recall the name, but an IPA. That was really nice. And that was a fantastic little power lunch.
So my where we've been is literally you could throw a baseball and literally hit the window across the street. This is ridiculous.
I think this might be somewhere I went too.
All right.
Interesting. Okay.
Okay. So I had teased this before that I was going to do something for the newsletter about aloe yoga. So I went and saw the new thing.
Okay. And how'd you like it?
People were really hyped about it. There were a lot of people there. There were people very interested in going through everything. And there was like a pretty big wave of customers. And it's got that corner spot right across the street from San Morello, right on Woodward there. And side note.
First thing to open in the Hudson's.
First thing to open in the Hudson's. And side note, I really like some of the streetscape that they're doing around there. It looks really nice. I saw a little bit of a preview of it when me, Norris, and Cheyenne covered a conference a couple of months ago. But to be on the street there on Woodward, to see how this has come together, the sidewalks, the plantings, everything else, excellent job with that by Bedrock. So I want to say that for one. But I went to Aloe, and let me tell you, the people were really friendly. I actually ran into somebody I knew from years past. Beautiful layout. Very much, I understand why they call it like a sanctuary store. Very chill vibes. I loved seeing the city through the windows. You know, it's well merchandised. I also, and I'll just say this because I kind of look like a PTO president that raided a Tommy Bahama. I'm not sure there's really that much outside of some shoes for me, but I can see why people would like it, and people were buying stuff and there was lines at the register. So all of that is good, I guess.
Spoiler alert, I actually went to Jer because it was right there when I was walking to Olin, and I decided I had a few minutes before my lunch. So I popped in there. I wanted to check it out. And, you know, first of all, no disrespecting Tommy Bahama. That is perfectly fine, especially as of a man, you know, north of 40. One of the things I'm looking forward to being 40 is getting to wear a lot more Tommy Bahama because, hey, you know what? That's good stuff, man. So, but anyway.
Well made, actually. Well made. I have a couple.
It is.
I have a couple really good shirts, and I love the stitching, and it like holds together really well.
Tommy Bahama dad is a lifestyle that I will be embracing very soon here. But as to the opposite end of the spectrum, perhaps. Yeah, so I went to Aloe, and we mentioned it briefly on, I think, last week's show. You know, I definitely lean into the athleisure. It's worked very well for me during post-COVID. I wear that stuff to work. I wear, you know, athleisure probably daily in some form or fashion. I was not really impressed with Aloe, but maybe not in the way you'd think. It just didn't I also didn't feel like it was my type of clothing. And someone outside may say, well, why not? Isn't it just Lululemon? But the way what I took away from this is what Lululemon is to millennials, Aloe is to Gen Z. Whereas millennials, you go into Lulu, everything has, you know, different sizes, different fits. You can get a slim cut pant. You can get, you know, more of your a little bit baggier joggers. They've got a whole array of different clothing. And the Aloe store, it had a ton for women. There was a ton of women's clothes. The colors weren't as diverse. It was pretty straightforward. A lot of black, a lot of white, some like muted pinks and stuff. Not a ton of colors. And then the men's section was tiny. I mean, you saw it, Jared. It was just like a little kind of shoehorn in the back corner there.
I saw a big rack of shoes, a few different items, and that's about it. I noticed that myself. I was like, oh, okay. And not that I get mad at that, because I was just like, oh, this store isn't programmed for me.
Yeah, but here's the thing is I'm, you know, Aloe adjacent as a customer, and I didn't find anything for me. And it felt like, you know, everything, certainly in the men's section, was like black and white, a little bit of tan. There's no real fit to it. Everything was a little baggier. Everything was more casual. Like I mentioned, you know, Lululemon, you can go in and get like a dress shirt, a quarter zip, dress pants. And I'm a millennial. Okay, this is how I dress. But Aloe was definitely like baggy hoodie, baggy windbreaker jacket with the flap, baggier pants with kind of no size differentiation, and all kind of black. So I was just kind of like, no, this looks like how I see younger celebrities dressing, but it's just really not for me. So I guess it isn't as much like Lululemon as I thought, which is, to me, good news because now they can both exist.
They seem to be for different customers. I've noticed this a bit with some clothes, and you tell me. I feel like there's been a trend back to the beiges, the grays, the blacks, the whites. I am somebody whose shirt you can hear coming before you see it, right? Like, I love color. I think color is fun. I think color is inviting. But I know that I'm pretty much a minority on this, and especially when it comes to menswear, right? Like, because I just think it's important to have, you know, whatever you're into, your greens, your blues, whatever, embrace that. But I also know that I feel like the pendulum's swinging back. Like, I remember there was someone I knew, they would only wear black or white or black and white polka dots or black and white stripes. It'd always be black, 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 black. I was like, okay, it works for you. But like for me, I like something that has a little bit of personality that tells people who you are.
It definitely seems like the pendulum is swinging towards the muted colors and blacks and whites. And, you know, maybe it's a small sampling because the store can't offer everything that like the website can. But it definitely seemed like they were going for a vibe, and it was much more literal black and white. Now, they had a bunch of hats. I guess, you know, their hats are a pretty big deal. So they had ton of different colors on the baseball trucker-ish type of aloe hats that they had. So I guess that's where you can get your pop of color. But no, I walked away kind of like not impressed, but it's one of those, I'm glad it's there. I hope it does well, but I'm not sure I'll go back there for any reason because it's just not my vibe.
Well, I would love to hear what people think. dailydetroit@gmail.com or 313-789-3211. There was some good news this week that I want to send people out with, Devon O'Reilly.
What do you got, Jer? I love the good news on a Friday is just great.
I've put aside a little bit of time to talk about this because it's nostalgia. And I know that nostalgia is rose-colored glasses, but I feel that is completely harmless when one of your favorite radio stations of your youth returns. 89X. 89X is back on the air, my guy.
Nice. Okay. I don't even listen to terrestrial radio anymore, but this might get me there.
Well, I mean, when you're in the car, you can, or, I think they're an iHeart station or whatever, so you can get it online. Let me tell you, as somebody who, 89X, it's a Windsor-based station, but serves the Detroit market. Been around, it originally became the 89X format, I want to say in like 1991. Like, this is so important to my early years.
It's right in your wheelhouse.
Right in the wheelhouse, right? Whether it's like everything from Sloan to Stone Temple Pilots to local stuff that we can get into, Offspring, Weezer.
Oh, you're scratching me where I itch. I am a big Offspring fan.
All right. So what are your Offspring tracks?
Glad you asked, Jer. Offspring, they have one of the best catalogs of the bands of that era. I mean, they've got so many different tracks that are really good and you could play on 89X or other stations, but I'm a fan of The Kids Aren't All Right. I mean, that's a classic. I love that song. Always good. And then Gone Away. It's only a little more moody, but I really like that one too. So those are my two favorite Offspring songs. What about you?
Oh, I mean, I got to admit that Pretty Fly for a White Guy makes me chuckle.
It's a little more like kitschy, whatever. They were definitely picking up. They were definitely picking up the vibes of the time. I remember that video, and it was pretty funny because like that was happening. Like that guy in that video is a lot of people who you would see walking around in those days.
But see, there's that whole genre of like kitschy things. So you've got like Blink 182's All the Small Things. You've got the All American Rejects, Dirty Little Secret. Like there's a whole like genre of stuff that kind of sounded kind of kitschy, but also rock. That I feel like that kind of played into and fed into.
It was fun. It was, we use this term a lot, but it was, a more innocent time, I feel like. We were just kind of like, we were just enjoying life. We were young and enjoying life. And the music kind of reflected that.
Yeah, I mean, 89X to me always was more of a challenger brand. That's one of the reasons why I liked it. Like, it was the upstart, it was from Canada. Like, this is part of how I fell in love with, like, the Bare Naked Ladies and getting that Canadian export content over the border. I really liked it. And they always did a good job of highlighting local
speaking
stuff.
of kitschy. Speaking of kitschy, Bare Naked Ladies, fantastic, great kitschy band.
I'm starting to discover a theme about myself here. I feel like this has turned into a therapy session about my musical taste. I really liked how they got into local content. So I remember, from the East Side, of course, I got to represent the East Side. Back in the day, I don't know, it was a one-hit wonder. There was this track called Superstar by Charm Farm. And
I don't know if I can remember that one.
I'll put a link in the show notes to people. But like, I guess the band members, when I was in high school, literally like rented an apartment in my old neighborhood. So like at the time that was there, did you know the lead singer of the New Radicals is from the East Side as well?
No, I had not heard that. I didn't even realize. I know the New Radicals, but they were like a kind of a one-hit wonder.
Oh yeah, they were also one-hit wonder. And then another one that had a few different hits, Sponge. Not the East Side, but like Metro Detroit, like Sponge.
I know some people who have cottages up in over in Irish Hills, and there's a famous pub over there called Jerry's Pub, and Sponge used to play there like at least like once every year, and it was like a huge deal. I wonder if they still do, but up until a few years ago, I think Sponge was still playing at Jerry's Pub in Irish Hills, and I bet we have a few listeners who either know Jerry's or have a place in Irish Hills, so we'll confirm that.
The last time I saw Sponge, I think it was at Arts, Beats, and Eats some years ago.
In Pontiac, I assume.
I don't remember because, blurry.
I'm just saying. I mean, that usually Arts, Beats, and Eats back in those days would have been in Pontiac.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, I went to both. I just, at this point, in my Tommy Bahama years, can't sort them out without like some sort of prompting,
Sure. Yes, of course.
But there's just so much good stuff that I'm into. And I was a little bit nervous when I saw the brand change. I'm like, okay, what is this going to be? And I was like, they say new rock. And I'm like, I don't know. And I mean, there's not enough, to me, there hasn't been enough rock on the radio for a while. And I know that this is, again, geriatric millennial stuff, right? I fully admit this is my bias is showing here. But when I turned it on Thursday morning, I was like, okay, we're back. This is good. I always loved the bumper stickers. I will never forget, and I was above the age 21, I won a giant margarita ball from them, like a giant plastic margarita bowl where you would pour in all of your materials, and it had like a little spigot at the top, like a push spigot. The thing was gigantic. It was like a quarter of the size of the podcast table if you've ever seen any of the pictures on our social media or whatever. Like this thing was like 1.5 feet across. This thing was absurd, but I loved it. I don't know where it went. And it wasn't the best made because, I mean, it was just like a big plastic ball with a spigot at the top. But man, that was so cool.
That sounds awesome. I wish I had that. So we're talking about 89X, and I feel like that's probably going to prompt people to think about radio stations that they miss. I wonder if we get some listeners to give us what are some of their favorite stations that they would bring back. Because for me, I think of like 93.1 DRQ. I remember that was listened to heavily in my car. What about you?
I would be 96.3 The Planet.
Yeah, okay, good one, yes.
Yeah, 96.3 The Planet. I'd switch between 89X and The Planet. This is before I got into public radio.
Okay, well, yeah, I mean, there were some good ones back in the day. I mean, all we really had was radio. This was before the digital radio days, but yeah, I remember 93.1. I remember The Planet, 96.3. I mean, those are on my favorites list for sure.
The other thing I loved about 89X, and I admittedly didn't follow them as much. I mean, I guess they were on the air in one form or another into 2020, and I didn't realize that. So this is, I also understand that I might have been part of the problem of them going off the air to country music, but I feel like I'm rediscovering them now, and they're like lean back towards being nostalgic. But the thing I loved about 89X, they always had some of the best events and bashes. Like they threw a good party. They knew how to throw a good party.
I think I was too young to experience this. Like they would throw stuff like at places downtown or.
So yeah, there was like the 89X stole Christmas concerts.
Oh, okay. I vaguely remember these. Yes.
Yeah. Like there was a bunch of them. The photos. I mean, I remember back in the day, like looking through like the alternative music stuff and like, this is like the heyday. And I still, the Metro Times did all this kind of stuff too. But like, pictures of like the concerts and the bands and all that stuff. That was like a whole nostalgic itch. Like I remember going, whether it was Real Detroit Weekly or the Metro Times, getting the alternative papers and then like seeing the different stuff from the different events and then learning about stuff like the 89X stuff or when they were doing like radio giveaways or stuff like that. There was just like a whole culture around consuming media. I mean, this even ties into, and I'm going to label myself here as old. I remember going to the used CD shop and like flipping through and getting stuff for like $5 or $6 over there, like in St. Clair Shores.
Such an alt rebel, Jer.
And I wasn't as much as some. There were some who were really into it. Like I knew people who like worked at like the record and CD stores, and let me tell you, they knew everything off the rip.
That was a coveted job to have.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Like the movie Empire Records, like that came out in 95, which might have been a little bit before you were into this stuff, but like that was peak.
No, I love that movie.
Oh, I do. Oh man. Such the biggest crush. Like I can't even.
It got a lot of play like on TV. So I remember watching it like in my young teenage years. That was, yes, amazing cast. But Empire Records, yes, sums up the vibe of what the era that we are discussing perfectly.
Listen, one of my first trips to New York City, I was much younger, and I went to the Virgin Records Superstore in New York City. And back then, it was
a big deal.
It was like going to a religious site. It was amazing.
Did you stand outside of a TRL taping?
I didn't. I did do Good Morning America. I never did TRL. I should have done that. That would have been great. I mean, there's just like so much more of a in-person fandom to it. And I know that like younger generations will never know. And I'm sounding like, old man who yells at clouds. But there was something like really special about everybody getting together. Like when a new album came out, like being in line for that album, meeting new friends. Like that's all stuff that I feel like connected us. There's people I still know from that era to this day. I think that was, just something that was really special that I know it can't come back, but I hope that there's different ways that in-person kind of stuff can be in the future.
Yeah, that monoculture existed where we would line up to buy the album, and everybody would basically experience listening to it for the first time together. And it just doesn't exist anymore. And I mean, it's not like we're going back. If anything, it gets worse. But I do miss those times.
Okay, possibly embarrassing question.
Uh-oh.
What was the first record, album, or CD you ever purchased?
Oh, I am not embarrassed to say this at all. But if anyone knows me, they won't be surprised. I purchased it with my own money, but my mom had to buy it for me. Because at Borders, they had the labels. It was DMX, flesh of my flesh, blood of my blood. How's that for a random pull? DMX. And my mom, bless her heart, bought me that CD with money that I gave her.
That is amazing and so much cooler than mine.
What's yours?
Okay. Pocket Full of Kryptonite by the Spin Doctors.
Hey, you know what? Spin Doctors, no shame in getting a Spin Doctors album. I appreciate that, Jer.
Time has shown that you had better taste than I do. Although I found that guy on Threads or whatever. It was hilarious. He's just like a normal job or whatever, just doing things. And in the bio, it's like Spin Doctor singer guy or something. It made me crack up.
I mean, yeah, no, that's fine. And I listened to the Spin Doctors, not to get too into the memory hole here, Jared, but like that was great about Borders. If you remember, if you ever went to Borders, like the music section, they had all the headphones of all the different genres, and the CDs were all queued up, and you could just go sit there and like listen to an album for a little while, decide if you liked it, and then you'd buy it. So I'd go listen to Spin Doctors and maybe buy some DMX, and I think I also bought what was another one that we really liked? Oh, like the Grammys. Remember they would do like the CDs that was like all the Grammy hits from a year, like all the best song nominees or all the whatever. We would have the Grammy hits. So yeah, that was able to kind of try some different stuff out before you bought something. But no, I settled on DMX, and hey, I'm not ashamed.
All right, before I let you go, how did you keep your CDs? Was it in the binder? Did you keep it in like a big rack? Did you make duplicates? What did you do?
Because I like to carry mine around because I would like go to the park and like take them places. So I had like the small square, like, I don't know, maybe like the 6x6. So single, but like single CD, but like double-sided flip book type of thing. And then I would go through that and I'd get another one, and I'd have to keep like my main one and then my backup one of like the older stuff. But I just did the single kind of flip book case that you could kind of zip over. It was like a black square.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's real portable. That's real practical. I had the big binder, like the big super, you could keep like 200. It was like super heavy. And then what I did, when like CD burners and CD copying started to become a thing, I would make duplicates of everything I had, and then I would put it into like smaller go packs.
Oh.
So I'd keep my main.
You were serious about this stuff, Jer.
Oh, for sure. For sure. So like the day that the gum stick iPod came out, like the little one that was like a little USB jump drive. I don't know if you remember it. But I was so in love with that thing because I had already pre-made all of my Go Packs from multiple years of like different CDs, and they happened to be just about the right size to fit on one of those gum sticks. So I could actually like preload all that stuff. I was obviously, it should surprise no one, I was a nerd about this stuff.
That's perfect, Jer. I'm not surprised that you had a whole system. I was just a little more haphazard, but it worked for us.
Well, you also had better taste.
What was taste back then? You liked a little of everything. Like I said, I'm listening to Offspring, I'm listening to DMX, I'm listening to Spin Doctors. People didn't, it was all good music.
For sure. I would love to go down memory lane with all of you. I figured it would be a good thing to do as we come into the holiday weekend. Are you excited about 89X? You've got some songs. How about some local bands that we need to remember from that day? 313-789-3211 or dailydetroit@gmail.com. Devon O'Reilly, so good to talk to you. I really appreciate you.
Great picking those member berries with you, Jer. That's always a good pastime.
Well, with that, I'm Jer Stays. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much to our members on Patreon for supporting us. Patreon.com/dailydetroit. Remember that you are somebody, and we'll talk next week.